Yeah, so we're going to start our Backcountry 101 course. I'm Forrest, and we'll just kind of go over the basics of getting into being outside when it's cold, to enjoy being outside when it's cold so you don't have to feel like over winter there's no activities you can't do. So anything from hiking to skiing to even just testing it out and camping in your backyard is always a good way to get into some winter camping. So we have some different styles of boots here, lighter boots that are more comfortable for long days of walking and hiking. Same with this kind of boot. It's got some waterproofing in it. It's gonna be light and it's quite a comfortable boot. And then as we move up to these kind of boots, these boots would be more like if you were snow machining to where you want to go winter camping, or spending a lot of time standing around, because they are big and heavy, so you don't want to be walking in them all day, but they have lots of insulation and they're going to keep your feet super warm. For all these types of boots, every night when you're finished your event or whatever it may be, you definitely want to have them drying out. So pull the liners out if you can, take the insoles out, because even if you have a really warm boot but your soles or insoles are wet, the next day if it's cold you're gonna have cold feet. These are hut booties, so if you end up if you're skiing into like a little cabin or something like that for a couple days, if you have your ski boots on or your kind of heavier hiking boots on, throwing these on at the end of the day is just like super comfy. They're super warm. We also have some socks that you'd want to pair with some boots like that. Most heavy duty socks, especially when it comes to winter, are going to have wool. I know some people find wool is itchy, so an option to like combat that would be wearing like a thin polyester liner, so that would just keep the itchiness down, and then you would pair that with a thicker wool sock, which is going to keep your foot super warm and help move that moisture away from your feet. When it comes to backcountry clothing, there's a good concept that most people like to follow, and it's a layering concept. So instead of wearing just like a really heavy jacket over top of a sweater or something like that, we'll have a base layer which is next to your skin, so it will transport the moisture away from your body, keeping you feeling dry and keeping your skin dry, so you're not feeling damp and getting cold from the sweat. So you have a base layer which you want to be snug against your top and your bottom, and then moving on from your base layer you have an insulation layer. This is just to retain your body heat, keep you warm. So you have fleece works really well, and then we also have down. Down is a really good alternative to fleece. It packs a lot smaller than fleece, so it's lighter. You want to have stuff that's going to pack down really small but yet still be very warm. So down is always a good option. So we have our base layer, our insulation layer, and then on top of that we have what's called the shell layer. And the shell layer is to block wind and repel water and snow. So this will keep you dry. It won't provide very much warmth, but it's going to keep you dry and block the wind from the elements. So here we have a huge variety of different types of clothing for that. But a sleeping pad is very important to keep you insulated from the ground, especially in the winter where the ground is very cold, whether it's snow or ice that you're sleeping on, or even in a tent. There's still a lot of heat transfer between you and the ground. Having a sleeping pad with it's called an R value of at least 4 or more is going to be what you'd want in the winter. It's going to keep you warm and keep your sleeping bag dry. A lot of people use like a closed cell style of sleeping pad. It's waterproof. It is a little bit bigger and bulkier, but probably the best way is to, if you have the space for it, is to pair something like this, a closed cell sleeping pad on the ground with something like this, which is lighter. This is going to retain more heat, so that will provide a barrier from the cold, and then this can provide just your warmth and comfort. You can see it's pretty thick, so it'll be pretty comfy, and then you can also see that it packs down very small. It is not very big when it's all rolled up.
Looks rather light too.
Yeah, very light. So if you're carrying stuff on your back, light is the way to go, because it'll just make your trip that much more enjoyable. We also have a variety of different ways you can stay or be sheltered in the winter. One of them is bringing a tent. Tents are awesome. They're heavy though, but they're a full shelter in itself. There'll be a freestanding tent. You want to use a 4-season tent. It's more durable. It'll be a little warmer against the wind, but it is a little heavier. So if you're going out with friends, it's nicer because you can split up the weight. Or if you're skiing and you're pulling a sled, that's an awesome option. If you're going really lightweight, we have things like a bivy sack, which is pretty much just like a kind of a sleeping bag shaped tarp that will provide a barrier between you and the snow and the ground. Not much heat, but it will keep you dry building quinzees or digging a snow cave, which research on the internet how to do it properly and correctly. But those are awesome ways, and you don't need to carry a snow shelter with you. You just build it when you get there. Over here we have lots of different types of sleeping bags. A good rule of thumb when you're going out on an adventure is to do research where you're going and then bring a sleeping bag that is rated for another 5 degrees below the expected temperature. So if you're going out camping and the expected temperature is going to be -10, bring a bag that's rated to -15 at least, because then if it does get colder, you are covered a little bit for warmth, and you can wear your clothes to bed. And then when it comes to sleeping bags, there's 2 different types. There's synthetic and down. Synthetic is a little bit heavier than down. It's cheaper, and it does a better job of retaining heat when it is wet. Versus down. Down is lighter, a lot more packable, but it is more expensive. So the upside to down is it stays warmer for the whole life of the bag. Synthetic tends to lose its warmness over the lifetime of the product. So as it gets onwards 5, 6, 7 years old, it will not be as warm as the day that you bought it.